So, ever wish you entered the English self-publishing market 5 years ago? Well, let us share a secret with you. You still can.
Because the German market is just at that point. So come on, be part of that revolution. Hi, we are Andrea and
Freya.
And we are on our way to become international best-selling authors.
And you are here to get along for the ride.
Okay, today we're going to talk about self-publishing in Germany, which is a little different, or maybe just a little, late compared to the English market.
But this is actually kind of cool because it also presents a unique chance for indie authors to enter that market, especially when you are from other countries where self-publishing is already more advanced than in Germany.
And a thing you have to know is that the German reading market is just as big as the American market of readers.
And also it's continually growing and it's already catching up with other markets from other countries. And so this is a great point actually for self-published or indie authors from other countries to get into the German market and make a name for yourself.
Yes. And we just digged out some specifics about that German market to make it a little easier for you.
Yeah, because there are some differences, I guess, or, some things that are special about the German market that we thought we make you aware of. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And so stick with us.
So, self-publishing is becoming increasingly popular among German authors, with some estimates suggesting that as much as 20% of all books that are published in Germany are published self-published. Oh my god, that was a lot of published.
But you get the point, I guess.
You get the point, hopefully.
So I think this is a key difference to the English-speaking market, right? Because I read somewhere that in the English-speaking market, 50% of the books are already self-published. So this is where we say the German market is catching up, but it's not there yet as is the English market. So it's something that is still growing.
Exactly. So the publishing market in Germany is growing rapidly, with more and more authors. No, that's just a repetition. Cross that out. And the German market is in change. A few years ago, self-publishing was really something you would find, you wouldn't admit to have bought a self-publishing book because the quality was really low. But today, every author just is in front of that decision whether he or she self-publishes or not, and it's not just only about I didn't get a publishing deal, so I have to self-publish.
Yeah, I think self-publishing is becoming really a viable option for also very well-established authors who have before published with traditional publishing houses. But they are now choosing actually to go down the self-publishing route because it proves to be more lucrative for them, or they just like it more, or they're unhappy with the decisions that publishing houses make. So the market is really in change, and self-publishing is kind of, going through a makeover really, because a few years back, a self-published author was, not being taken very seriously, but today it's really. And this is something that people are getting more and more aware of, that self-published authors are just as legitimate authors than traditionally published authors.
There's this one famous example of Martin Christ. He's a quite famous Berlin crime author, and he has published I don't know how many books, but a lot of them in the 90s and the early 2000s. 2000s? How do you say that?
2000s, I think.
I mean, and he has published a lot of books with big publishing houses until I think it was 2017 or 2018. Mm-hmm. I met him in 2018, and he had just started then, and he's just he's making a buzz in self-publishing, and I talked to him a lot, and he would never go back.
He's awesome, by the way. And actually, yes. I have been talking to a colleague of mine as well, because I have actually started my writing route also as a traditionally published author. And I published, also in the 2000s, my first 2 books with a publishing house, and it didn't go well at all, and which actually put me off writing for a long time, which is really, really sad. And I have talked to another colleague of mine about this experience, and he also has published a few books with publishing houses. And when I asked him, would you ever go down the publishing house route again, he shook his head and was like, never, ever again. So this just shows that things are really, really changing, and self-publishing is becoming an awesome option for authors, to get their work out and to actually make a very good living off of it.
And as self-publishing in Germany grows, so does the audience. As self-publishing gets more popular in Germany, readers go away from just buying books from big publishing houses, but they merely stick to the author, him or herself, because they want to read more what the author wrote. And so that's kind of a shift from publishers to authors, and the publishing houses, they become just less important. And
it also kind of shows that self-published authors are, being much more recognized by a broader audience than before. When self-publishing first started, people were sticking to publishing houses and what their local bookstores sold them. But today, people are really looking for authors, and especially for authors who have already published in publishing houses, they take their readership with them when they go down the self-publishing route. Yes. But this also shows that readers are really sticking to the authors, and they don't care whether a book is self-published or with a publishing house. They just care whether it's a book by their author that they want to support and read from.
And I think because that's a point we come to later, but since self-publishing books are not that common in local bookstores, but readers get more and more used to buying books from online stores and stuff.
Yes.
They just order their books in the local bookstores, and they don't care whether the book is on the shelf or on a table, but they just tell the retailer, well, I want to have that book, so please order this from me. So
yeah,
that's
and
really
I think
interesting.
Yeah, and I think it also plays into the fact that ebooks are becoming more and more important when it comes to publishing. Their share of sold books has increased a lot. I remember when I first published my books with the publishing house back in the 2000s, the ebook had just come out, I think, and people were like, yeah, the ebook is never going to, hold a place in a reader's heart, basically. Ebooks are not ever going to be important. And look at ebooks now. And this is also true for the German markets. Ebooks are becoming more and more important, and this is something we get into soon too. And I think this has also to do with the change of the market and why it's such a great point to basically get into the German market and publish here independently.
That's true, but I just heard that half of the whole sales volume of all sold books in Germany per year is still made in local bookstores.
Oh, it is? Okay, that's a great information. Okay.
That's a big number, actually, because as we said, the market is really big.
And as we have mentioned before, Germans love printed books. They love books on paper because this is, I don't know. Yeah.
And that was in our last episode. So if you missed that, just go back and listen to this one about printed books in Germany.
It's a love declaration from 2 Germans to the printed book, basically.
So, as we've already mentioned, it's quite hard to get into a local bookstore as a self-publisher, because a bookstore owner just told me, when your book is in the newspaper, I can take it in, but otherwise I don't have enough space here. So the representatives of the bookstore, of the publishing houses, they go into the bookstores, and they just, they're just so big, and it's just such a big lobby, kind of, because the publishing houses just buy out the tables in the bookstores, and it's really difficult for self-publishers to get that space. But then again, this is getting better, at least for books that have an ISBN, as we've mentioned in that episode.
Yeah, I think, I think there's also a lot of change happening. The reason why local bookstores really stayed away from self-publishers is because they have had a very negative reputation in the past, because, you know, the print quality of the books was just not as great, and self-publishing wasn't really professional a few years back. So it wasn't really common for self-publishers to actually have an editor or a professional cover designer. So the books were not looking as professional as those of the big publishing houses, which is why local bookstores are kind of, you know, already still, you know, sticking to the traditional route, because then they know that they get good quality books. But there's also a lot of change happening, and it really I think also there is basically a different thinking that is being established in local bookstores, because there are certain bookstores that are actually marketing themselves with, we also support self-publishers, and we have self-publishing sections or indie author tables. And so there is also a great opportunity actually to get into the printed book market.
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially because the printing services that I use that are used by print-on-demand services, and when you print when you do a print run, the quality of those printing services is just as good as the ones that publishing houses use.
Exactly.
So,
and that's not how it started. I remember I started actually, you know, before I went to the publishing house in the 2000s, in 2001, I think it was, or 2002, 3, I actually had my first book self-published, which was really on a different level back then than it is today. And I published with Books on Demand, and the quality of the printed book was not nearly as good as the one of a book of a publishing house. So you could tell the difference with the paper, with the cover, with everything. But this is not the case today anymore. So today, if you have a really well self-published book, it can be actually of greater quality easily than a book of a great publishing house.
It's especially when it comes to stuff like cover design and the layout inside of the book. You can do a lot better than some publishing houses do.
Because you can pour all your love into it.
Yes, exactly. And if you put some money into it and do a print run instead of publishing on demand, you can just choose like everything about the book. You can make these color cuts, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, and you can really, you know, and I think this is what makes self-publishing so great, especially when you have very well self-published books in print. You can tell that the author is really close to the book, that there's not a publishing house that basically took it away, but that the author really had this opportunity to create this amazing product from start to end. And you can tell, and they are just amazing. So I've had so many great self-published books in my hands, and they're just beautiful.
But it's still the beginning here. So there's still only a few books who have reached the almost important list in Germany, the Spiegel bestseller list, and it's just starting. So we really, but I love that, because I think it's Joanna Penn and maybe Mark Dawson even. They always say today's the beginning, not yesterday, not 10 years ago. Today's the beginning. So, and in Germany, we're really way. The English market is way ahead of German market.
So, but this is also cool, because then you can actually have a peek into the future. You're basically, when you come from the English market into the German market, you come from the future. So you know what's going to happen. And I love that. Back to the Future.
Hey, time
Sorry,
traveler.
a huge nerd
nice
here.
Nice to meet you.
But the thing is, you kind of know where the German market is headed, because you have this great blueprint that is the English market. So it's really a great point to get into that.
Just something off topic. That's not only true for the book market. It's actually true for like everything.
It is kind of.
I remember. It is. It's funny. We just. Well, they may be. Well, no. Maybe there are some parts of the industry where this is different, because. there's one thing, because I've mentioned the Spiegel bestseller, but there are some other book awards, and that's a place actually where you can see that we're not that far yet, because there are a lot of literary. Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of literary awards. Yay! I just got over this word with a laugh.
You did a good job.
Mm-hmm. That don't take self-published books. They you cannot submit a self-published book to these awards, which is awful. But it just shows where we still are, you know.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of change coming. You know, there's this in the fantasy section. There's this prize called Seraph, and they have there you can actually enter self-published books, and they actually have a special section also, an indie Seraph, which is only for self-published books, which is also really, really cool.
These special things. That's like the special table in the bookstore, because
I know.
people don't go to that special table because these are self-published books. I don't want to see them.
I know, but I think I just wanted to point out that there's change happening.
Yeah, that's great. I just wanted to point out that I don't like these special.
Yeah, me either. I think
treatment.
it's kind of, you know, it's actually kind of humiliating sometimes when you go to a bookstore and you present your book and then you say the word, I'm a self-published author, and you can tell, you know, by the whole body language of the bookstore person that they're like, oh my god, it's one of those. but then you show them the book and then they're like, really?
Yes, you have to show the book first. I never mention that it's not that it's a self-published books unless they ask. I never do that. I was like, I have this book. Would you like to put it into your shelf, or would you like to take it into your store? And then I just show the picture, or I have the book with me, and then I just.
That's the beauty of it. If you go to a bookstore and you have a book with you that looks just as good or even better than a book of a publishing house, they might not even have the idea that you are an indie author. This is how the mindset works.
But actually, I think it's even more interesting to take your phone and open the book, not on Amazon but on another big bookstore. And when you have reviews on that bookstore for your book, and you just can show the cover and the reviews, and that's really off topic for this episode, but it's actually nice. And we can just lead into the next point, which is about professional services.
Exactly.
Really.
Well, because you know,
awful.
No, I can work with that. Don't worry.
I know.
So the thing is, because, you know, there's this assumption about self-publishers that we are basically amateurs, right? They don't realize that we are really, really professional people who, just as the big publishing houses, use a lot of professional services. For instance, the editing of a book is something that you leave to a professional person in Germany. And the same goes with the cover design. So I know most authors rely on professional cover designers. I know Andrea doesn't, because she's actually amazing. She can do it herself, which I really am envious of. But I'm not. So I use a professional cover designer, one that is also employed by publishing houses. So there's really no difference. And this is something you should definitely consider when you go into the German market, that you have really professional people who do the editing, maybe even the formatting and the cover design, because then you have a really professional looking book that does not look like the one people imagine a self-publishing book looking like. And
that this is something you have to keep up with, you know, because these are the successful books here. So we're not at the very, 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 very beginning of self-publishing here. So we have the books have a certain quality already. So to be successful, you have to keep up with that.
I think this distinguishes the successful self-publishers in Germany from the unsuccessful ones, because you have many, many unsuccessful self-publishers in Germany, we're not gonna lie. But the ones that are successful are usually the ones who have professional editing, professional cover design, professional book layout. And then those books are actually going to fly. regardless whether they are self-published or not. So this is kind of one of the main things that you have to consider and to take care of.
This actually leads to the challenges you have to face in the German market, which are not that different from the challenges in other markets like the English market. And this is actually mainly marketing and visibility. And the biggest challenge for authors in the German market is visibility. And this is especially true, and here you have a big advantage about the German authors, because most of the courses regarding book marketing and creating a book and stuff are in English. Most of the podcasts are in English. Most of the YouTube channels are in English. And that's not only true for courses and videos, but also for books, for non-fiction books about writing. It's just a tiny bit of what you find in English. So as somebody who speaks English, you're way ahead of a lot of Germans, because, well, a lot of Germans speak English, but I know so many authors. When I send them a video in English, they're just like, well, yeah, thank you, but I can't do anything with that. So that's a big advantage, and it's a challenge for German authors, actually. But for you, this could be a really big advantage, at least until AI is capable of just translating everything. Well, it is actually capable already.
So the thing is, basically, when you are if you want to become a successful, self-publishing author in Germany, you kind of have to rely on an international community. You have to, like Andrea said, you have to, be at least capable of watching videos in English, but also be able to transport all your knowledge to the German market and all its specifics. So, like Andrea said, you are at a huge advantage here, because you are coming from a very well-established market where you have a lot of, courses or books or tools that can help you to increase the quality of your books and create visibility and do a good marketing strategy. The German market does not offer as much. So, if you come from an international standpoint into the German market, you are actually much ahead of the curve. And so this is also why I think it is a great point for international authors basically to also conquer the German market via self-publishing. Because it's all about internationality. And well, we Germans, we kind of sometimes struggle with that. I think that's actually true.
So this is your time to start in the German self-publishing market, because, as we've mentioned, it's just as big, or the size of the readership is just as big as in the American market. So it's huge. We love to read, and actually there are so many people who just read a book a day, and so
it's crazy. I could never do that. Novellas, maybe.
How you can do that, we actually start talking about that in the next episode, which is going to be about distribution and platforms where you can print-on-demand platforms and print-run distributors and stuff like that.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to add is if you actually consider going into the German market, one major point also is not just that the market is kind of, waking up to the wonders of self-publishing. I love that. But also that Germans, as I said, we kind of struggle sometimes, with English content. But when it comes actually to international content, we are very much used to plots that take place in England or in America or somewhere around the world. So I know people who know more about English history than German history because they have watched so many shows that take place in England. So we are very much used to those settings. And I know also a lot of authors who actually write in German and who are German authors, but their stories take place overseas in America because... So we are used to that, and we love that, and we feel at home there. So if you have books that take place in these places, this is not going to feel foreign for German readers. And there are many readers who are just waiting for you, basically. So
Yes.
go ahead, take them on.
And it's actually there are two parts about this, because on the one hand, because yes, it feels like home, but on the other hand, it's just exotic, you know.
Yeah.
We like to be somewhere else, not here.
Yes, that points it very nicely. It does.
And we're so all those TV shows, they are just we watch in Germany. They're just set in America, and so we're just.
You might be surprised by this. I had this. Oh, I'm sorry. But the thing is, I had this one American friend of mine, and she was moving to Florida, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so great! You're moving to Florida," and she looked at me astonished and was like, "But you live in Germany. How awesome is that?" But Germans don't feel this way.
No, we don't. Well, I do live in Berlin, and I really feel that this is an awesome city, and I love living here. And but there are other parts in Germany.
Yeah, you know? like Kiel, where I'm living, which is nice because I live by the ocean. But it's not Berlin or Hamburg or no.
No, it's not.
Just not.
But it's the Baltic Sea. So
yeah, that's beautiful. So
we promised actually that you'd learn a German word in each episode, and that's just the right moment to do that. Wow, we didn't plan that. Right, because we've been talking about Germany the whole episode, but right now we're talking about living in Germany. So
do you want to go with the word that we discussed, or want to choose a different one?
Did we didn't discuss a word? No. Okay. Well, we can try.
So the word we considered basically was I don't know why. How did we get to that? But we talked about dogs. So I have a dachshund. And which is a funny word in English because it's basically a German word, just English with an English pronunciation. In German, it's Dachshund.
Even more. The German word is even more funny, even funnier, I think.
Yeah, it actually means badger dog, which is funny. And but the Germans usually don't say Dachshund, but Dackel. And I have one, and he's my best friend, and. Yeah, so Andrea's probably rolling her eyes right now. I can't see her. No, she's smiling. Okay.
No, I'm smiling because I think the word Dackel, actually, that's just such a German word.
It is.
From the origin, it's even that, but it just sounds so German, like Dackel.
I know, but the good thing about the word is it's very. You can pronounce it even when you come from an English country or speak English as a mother. It's lots of German words are really hard to pronounce, and Dackel isn't one of them. So I think
Dackel.
Yeah, it's a really German dog. I think too. I think it was the mascot of the Munich Olympics in the 70s. Because Germans and their Dackels.
It's just the. Oh no, I won't say that because then Freya's going to punch me.
I can't. I'm a few hundred kilometers away from you.
Okay, I try. It's something like the uncool beagle, I would say.
Oh my God!
I know.
How could you?
Because it's a dog for hunting, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a hunting dog. Yeah, which is why he's called badger dog, because he's used to hunt badgers.
And the badger is a dachs?
Dachs.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. The house animal of Hufflepuff, I think.
Is it?
I think
and
so.
I just learned that no, I forgot what I've learned. Because that's probably not we were over the time limit. So guys,
here we are. I hope you enjoyed this. We did. I did enjoy it immensely.
Yes, me too. And we hope you really, really learned something here. Guys, we really hope to hear from you and to read from you. So please just comment below this video somewhere or just write an email, and you'll find all the information about us beneath this podcast episode in the show notes. And we really like to get in contact to get to know you.
And we would love to read from you. So go ahead, translate your books into German and conquer the German market. It's a great point to start. And
and let's share our audiences.
Yes.
Really, let's share the audiences. Right.
So guys, see you next time.
Have a beautiful time. Always remember, you're good enough and you deserve to be successful and amazing and live your dreams. Bye.
Okay. That's a tough act to follow. Bye-bye.